Okay, so we talked about having these two energies within us at war. Ego, mind, spirit, higher consciousness, awareness, stillness, whatever you want to call it. They're butting heads. And as we grow spiritually, we start exercising it happens gradually, but the spirit starts becoming more predominant and being the leader or the force, the power that energizes our life. And the ego and mind, we become less and less identified with it. It's still there, but we observe it and we no longer let it run our lives. One of the things that really trips us up and causes us to stumble is making decisions when we are very egoic or mind energized, when that part of us is really strong and prevalent. And it could be a very charged emotional state of being. It can be anger, it could be fear, it could be worry, but generally it's these negative energy levels. And then we make major decisions under this influence. And in the long term it has, and often short term, has catastrophic results. And one of the examples is like the Iraq War. There was such a strong emotional charge after 9/11. We were under that euphoria or high of being patriotic, of uniting the country, of everybody coming together, and we're going to get the bad guys. We're going to conquer them, and we're going to get revenge, basically. And again, though, that's a red flag when that is the motivators that were coming from ego, from mind, and from fear. It's that negative energy level. And we don't allow the spirit to guide us because the ego and that negative energy or that cloud that hangs over us just blocks out any sunlight. And we are compelled to follow it, and we don't practice stillness. We don't say, hey, what is the wise thing to do? What is the loving thing to do? What is the gentle thing to do? That doesn't even come to fruition because the emotion just overruns everything. And then we look at, this affects many. I mean, it affected a whole populace, the American populace, and other countries were swept up in this wave. You got the Senate and Congress, you got the president, and you have the cabinet. All these people are swept up in this emotional euphoria, which just led to catastrophic results, sadly. And look at the immense suffering that has taken place due to it. So what a better way to operate. First, so that's before I go there, let me take that and then transfer it to our personal lives. With the divorce rate being 50+% as it is, I think this is another thing that also really clouds our judgment. Who knows how long it is? Some say 6 months, some say a year, but there's a honeymoon stage when couples are dating. It could be 2 years. And again, we feel this euphoric high, emotional high. This person is going to make my life better. This person completes me. All the cliches that we've been exposed to in the movies. And often we get physically involved. We get physically involved with this person. And then when you tie in the physical, biological reactions when you're in a sexual relationship with someone, that also adds further clouds to our judgment. So under this high, we make lifelong decisions. Well, with the divorce rate as it is, it's not necessarily a lifelong decision, but we make major decisions. And we say, oh, I'm going to get married, this is the right person. And then we often don't see their shortcomings or their flaws, and we don't properly assess what's the long-term cost. Like the Iraq War. What is the long-term cost? Yes, it might feel good to get revenge on the short run and right or wrong, but what is the consequences. And I don't think we've been properly prepared of what sacrifices are necessary when you are in a marriage and when you are committing your life to another person, because we make it under emotional high. So that's another example of deciding under the influence. And then we make a myriad, thousands of little decisions under this emotional high, under this ego or the mind high, which, like I said, can be very irrational. And when we might get angry at someone, when we get frustrated, when we basically it's whenever when we're pushed like a reed in the wind, someone blows, or something external blows us this way and we just go, blows us that way and then we go, and we're very reactatory, if that's a word, to what is going on in our physical world. And again, the place of peace does not reside on the surface of water, where the storms, big waves, things can toss us and turn us and create turmoil. Where the peace resides is, again, going within. And so, digging deep and not being have trigger reactions and saying, okay, my ego or my first emotional response would be to do X, Y, Z, and then say, you know what, I'm going to start living from a place of spiritual centeredness. I'm going to start practicing stillness, and I'm going to start consulting my inner wisdom, my inner compass, and living from there. And some of the great places to tap that is, one is the breath, and you just, that instantly can put you right back into the depths of your being. That's a good one. Park benches are another great place to really get connected and practice centeredness, and then consulting your inner wisdom, and taking a bath and just sitting, with the lights down, listening to soothing music, and you're just allowing your spirit to speak to you. Reverse praying. You're not asking for anything. You're just listening. Just listening. And then you start having all these insights and wisdom and guidance, and your life is freeing, because that energy, when we live in that place, it's so gentle. It's so soothing. It's so relaxing. It's a joy, and it's the inner peace that we all seek, which is not dependent on what happens in the physical world. And sometimes we'll find ourselves, you kind of get swept up. You wake up and you don't feel good, or you didn't get enough sleep, or you haven't been eating right and you feel kind of negative. And we might make life decisions or short-term decisions in that energy mode. So kind of like using how we used to have the terror warning signs? I think red was the worst, then orange was next, and then yellow, and then I don't know if it was blue, and then green was safe. And they would rate the terror warning in that particular day or week. And so what will help us make that transition, so we start living more spirit-based or in a higher state of higher consciousness, is to be aware of where we're at. Is our emotional state or our ego or our mind at red and dominating our lives and clouding our vision and making us feel sad because it's just focusing on lack and the negative and what we don't have, and fear and worry and stress and all those things? And if we say, okay, it's red, so I'm going to be very aware, I'm going to maybe bite my tongue, I'm going to practice stillness, I'm going to move it down towards green. And by not resisting, by accepting and observing it, so it no longer acts as a subconscious saboteur that resides within our spirit or our bodies. And then just this amazing transition starts to happen where we live a life of peace. Thanks for listening.